Another school year has come and gone, and it's time again to share what was the best ever homeschool year. And this year I have a collaboration with other homeschool mamas sharing some of their best things from this year as well. So when you're done with this, link down below, and I'll see you over on the other channels. The first thing I'm going to share, and these aren't in any order, but the first thing is the thing that was repeated the most often as a favorite, and that was Guest Hollow's botany for my 8th grader. Ben loves reading and loves plants. So this last summer, he requested to do some botany, and I was trying to put something together on my own, and I really struggled. And then I asked about it over my Facebook, on my personal one, and someone mentioned that Guest Hollow had botany. I was like, oh, I had forgotten about it. I don't know why I hadn't thought about it, because my daughter loved their kitchen and the chemistry. So I hopped over there, and it was perfect. It was exactly what he needed. He loves to read. He loves some videos. There was a great variety, and I will be doing a video on this one. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Like I said, he's in 8th grade, and we did it. It's supposed to be a high school course. As it's written, I would say 8th to 10th grade is more appropriate. I would not, as written, I would not say it is an 11th or 12th grade science course. An elective, sure, but not a science course. So that was number one. And like I said, I will be doing a video, curriculum spotlight on it coming up. Next thing is one that is not going to be a great fit for a lot of families, but for the time period, it was fantastic for us. And that was switching our main meal of the day to lunchtime. And if you don't know, my husband, the second half of our school year, deployed with less than 24 hours notice. And so when he did, as soon as we got the information and got him organized, the first thing I did was sit down to make some changes of what I was going to need to do in order to survive this time period well. And the very first decision I made was to swap lunch and dinner. Because I knew that if I didn't, then we wouldn't do well the rest of the day. Dinner was probably not going to happen. So that was a great option for us. What I didn't know was going to make it the best of, part of the best of was that we had a good meal most days of the week, because I did it at lunchtime when I still had the energy. But the second part that I didn't expect was how much more I would enjoy it as a communal activity. At lunchtime, generally, my boys ate at one time, my daughter ate at a different time, I ate at another time, and that's just the way it went. And my daughter works after school until night and until late, so she's almost never home for dinner. So by switching this, we pretty much all ate at the same time, and we had that benefit of hanging out together while I cooked or one of the kids cooked and eating together. And I didn't anticipate that, but that made it so much better. And you guys know that we love documentaries in our homeschool. So when I did this year's end of the year questionnaire, and if you don't know, I've got a free sample down there for you to give to your kids, or a free questionnaire of it down there. Grab the link. One of the questions that we talked about was what shows that they enjoyed. And the 3 that they enjoyed the most were The Road to 9/11, which is on the History Channel. And that one, Matthew liked it more than Ben, but I think it was because Ben was ready to move on from studying about 9/11, because we just done a little mini unit study about it. But it was really good. There was 3 or 4 episodes in it. And then the other 2 were part of the series of The Men Who Built America. So there's the 2 that we watched. We did American history this year. One was the foods that built America, and the other one was the frontiersmen who built America. So they were all part of that same series. And if you don't know this series, they're like a reenactment drama-ish type of thing about different. So the men who built America had people like in that late 1800s, early 1900s time period, like J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, those kind of men. The foods that built America was the one that they absolutely loved the most. Foods that built America, they took two competitors, so like Pizza Hut and Domino's, Kraft cheese and like different food genres. They did a frozen food one, canned food, etc. And they dramatized the history of them and of the companies. And I know this, be like, well, where's the history in it? Well, yes, it is more like pop culture-y history of the food and whatever. I'll admit, like, that's kind of the biggest thing. So they did talk about, like, some of the history of, like, things that were influencing out of it. But really, it was more just about that. But my boys absolutely loved it. And with the episodes, we would talk about, like, what was going on in that same time period outside of that specific thing and such, so we could relate it more directly. But they absolutely loved it. And that excitement about history is something that you can't quantify that. And I am happy to include shows that have maybe a dubious-ish tie-in to history if it excites them about the general subject. I hope there's not a lot of windy noise or anything for you. It is absolutely gorgeous here in North Carolina right now. Way better than usual. Way. Like today I think it's supposed to be 77. And in the shade, it is fantastic. And I didn't want to be inside. So here we are. Two more things. Number 4 is changing gears when it comes to studying physics. Specifically, like a lot of homeschool moms, I don't always love to change things when I've got my plans. Some moms are on the other end and they're willing to change all the time, but sometimes I hesitate to do it because I feel like, well, I've planned it and whatever, so let's do it. But this year with physics, I had to change gears. That was what Matthew wanted to study this year, and he just finished 6th grade. And he loves physics. He loves astrophysics, and he loves astronomy, and he loves all of these big ideas. What he doesn't necessarily love is having, like, going back to the basics. Newton's laws of physics. Those kind of, like, foundational things. But I think those are really important to have, obviously, because you need them to develop the bigger stuff. So that's what the beginning of the year was a lot of. And we had a couple different texts that we used, and it was fine. But by mid-year, he was definitely over it. So we had to switch gears. And what we switched to, it was a lot of piecemeal, and I'm not sharing that because that's not what the point of it. The point is that changing it, I'm glad we did some of those basics in the beginning, but changing gears and letting him enjoy more what he wanted to study was a great option for us. It was definitely a best of the year because he was more excited about it. He wasn't just going through the motions and doing what was assigned to him. And that's important. And the last thing, I did this last in case I start crying, because then my mascara is not going to be ran throughout the thing. Yes, graduating my first kiddo. It was definitely one of the best things of the year. One of the hardest, but one of the absolute best things about the year. If you want to watch more about that, learn how it went and such, click on the video on your screen, and I will see you over there Don't forget to visit the playlist, the link down below, also on your screen. And I will see you in the other videos.